Without a God, there's not anything holding them accountable to doing good things. I don't think that's myself one day. I think I've definitely gotten better at giving things to God. Even if you grow up in a faith, it's hard to trust something that you cannot see. There's the confidence in yourself that you're going to be better, and the confidence in yourself that you're enough where you are. Your mental health or your mindset fuels everything. Hi. Today's video is about the mental aspects of self-love, which is probably going to be the last one, but just more in depth of some of the things I've done so far to get better at that. Now, I'm definitely still learning. I would say to this day, I think today, probably over the course of probably the past few weeks, I have hit a lot of epiphanies, I guess, for a lot of different stuff, especially with religion and I guess the spiritual aspect as well as the mental aspect of my own self-love journey, which I know can apply to many other people because it's also a part of the self-love journey is the mental aspect of it all. One of the biggest things that I want to start with is religion. I kind of bounce back and forth between religions, between Islam and Christianity due to culture, of course, but also due to growing up and not exactly knowing where I fit in or where I belonged or what felt right to me. And in high school, up until about junior year, I would say I was definitely exploring Islam a lot more. From wearing the hijabs to owning my own Quran and just trying to get deeper in that faith. And that's a big part of the culture in my family, which is, I guess, one of the reasons I wanted to lean more into it, to feel more connected to it, but also because it did bring me peace. And that's kind of one of the main aspects of religion, is to bring you peace and teach you how to live in a way that benefits you the most. As of today, and for a few years now, I've been Christian and also I've been growing in that. I think I really, over the course of the past 2 years, has been my biggest growth in the Christian religion, but I've always had foundations and morals and principles. I did grow up in, whether, it doesn't matter what, but some type of religious environment and in the church for a big part of my childhood. It does help me stay grounded, as well as bad as it sounds, and I don't think this is for myself. I think this is just not for myself, but for a lot of humans. Without a God, there's not anything holding them accountable to doing good things. I don't think that's myself. But I think with using that, having a God does keep you grounded, not only in just making good decisions and life choices and things that benefit you and not only the people around you, but your mental health. Like, not doing certain stuff is for your mental health, not just to please a God. As well as, in a sense, hope, I guess, because you can get really down and your mental space can be really low if you feel like there's no hope or there's nowhere to turn to or there's nothing greater than you. As much as I want to say I think I'd do great if the world was in my hands and I was in control of everything, I know I'd absolutely lose it, especially when I don't know what to do, And there's a sense of peace that it's out of your control. At first, it drives you crazy. I don't think I'll ever, probably one day, I think I've definitely gotten better at giving things to God at the end of the day, which doesn't mean checking on them and worrying about them and asking about them. It means letting it go and going about your life, which is so hard. I don't think I'm a control freak. I think I'm very close, though. I think without control, I don't feel safe. Not safe per se, but without control and knowing exactly what's going to happen, I don't have a lot of peace, or I didn't. It's getting better, but without knowing exactly what's going to happen and knowing that I can control that, I lose it. I'm trying to find the words to express it in the way that I know that it is in my mind, but I simply lose it. And I know that has brought me a sense of peace. And with peace, you age better, your health is better, you're happier, your hair is not falling out, your nails aren't you're not stressing out. And I'm growing every day in that because it is hard. Even if you grow up in a faith, it's hard to trust something that you cannot see. I promise you, there are days, even people that seem the most religious have their doubts or have their moments where their faith is completely either gone or tested to the extreme. And not gone, I wouldn't say gone, but very weak. And I think I've had those days. And I think I know, but I know I've had those days where my faith has been kind of rocky and I have not behaved like someone who has faith in a power above. I behave like someone who has faith in myself, which I do, but not in the same sense. To tie that back into the mental aspect of self-care, I think one of the biggest components of self-care is peace and finding a way to make sure you can create that peace in your own life. And one of the best ways to do that is to be able to let go of stuff. Moving on to another part of peace, or the mental aspect of self-love, forgiveness. And not just other people. I mean, you have to forgive other people for your own sake and to move on and not be somewhere losing your mind. but yourself. When you first start your journey of doing better, whether that is religious, I know there's people who go on like journeys of celibacy, they go on journeys of not drinking, of not eating certain foods, of not behaving a certain way, not saying certain stuff, not wearing certain clothes, stuff of the such. You have to forgive yourself for the things you've done in the past, because you can't move forward if you don't. You still think you're that person who's going to make certain mistakes, and you kind of already put yourself in the place of making the mistakes and not even giving yourself a chance to do better when you say, well, this is, I'm going to fail because I've always done this. And instead of saying, I don't have to fail because I've always done this, I can turn a new leaf and not do it anymore. I had a friend, I'm not going to say any names, so it doesn't matter how I say the story. She, in high school, made a few mistakes with a few guys. And by a few, I mean like probably 2, but like actually a few, 2, not like 27, but 2. And she went on a celibacy bout for I think about 2 years, and then she ended up meeting her now husband. But at the time, he was doing them the same thing, which is, I truly believe that God brought them together, but they had both been on a bout of like being celibate and wanting to do better and be married, And so she met him, and at first I did not like him. That's because he was very, and this is me being judgmental and also being scared for my friend. He's a guy, and that she just met, that she was dating. I just wanted her to be okay. It seemed like he was really judgy. Then I got to know him. He was never judgy. He was kind of really good at projecting how he felt about himself on the outside. But at the end of the day, they both wanted to do better in the sense of abstinence, sex, and marriage. At first, she kept saying, she can redeem herself in God's eyes for those things. But the thing she didn't realize was she actually was already doing that by not doing them anymore. Like, some people, when they make the choice she made, they continue to mess up and do it over and over and over again. And they don't get it till it's like 20 years later, which I guess that's some people's path. But she actually really pushed herself into her faith. I mean, devoted herself to God and being better. And she ended up being married, She actually had a complete glow up from herself in high school to she is now. Not only is she happier, she's more fit. She genuinely seems like her life has completely turned around. And it was 2 years of this long process of sticking to the word of what she said she was going to do. And I don't have doubts she's going to continue to grow in God and be better and do better, because she already is. Like, it's the fact that she, after a while, finally forgave herself. We had a conversation where I remember she said she wishes she never messed up, but there's nothing she could do about it now, and she understood she was young and she didn't have as strong boundaries and standards for herself as she does now. And at first, when you heard her talk about herself and her mistakes, she talked about it from a place of anger towards herself, and basically she put herself down, and then she talks about it again, and she talks about it from a place of forgiveness and unconditional love for herself. Like, I messed up, but I won't anymore, and I'm doing everything I can to ensure that I do not. That's one of the things I feel like is really important also for this like self-love, like glow up journey, I guess, is the forgiveness of yourself and the actual effort to not do it not make the same mistakes, which also does tie into religion in a way, which is the basis and the foundation of the mental aspect for me. But then there's the third part, which is the self-confidence of it all, which will probably branch off into like little branches, or it could just stay as one depending on how I, take it or deliver it. It also ties kind of back into forgiveness, and also there's a sense of this confidence in yourself when I'm not going to say you pretend like what happened in the past didn't happen, but when you accept it and know that it's a moment to grow and move on from, and not sit there and dwell in and just feel terrible about, There's this sense of, I am enough. I am good enough. I wasn't always perfect. And I promise you there's nobody who was. There are people who are going to lie and say, oh, I've never made mistakes. I've never done things. And they have. They just don't talk about it, which is probably for the best, honestly. But in some cases, no, it's not good to not own up to your stuff. But in cases of like random people, it's best not to talk about things you've done in the past. You don't know if they'll get used against you, or if these people are unable to see you as a human being outside of themselves and outside of you're supposed to be this perfect image of whatever they see you as. But the self-confidence of knowing that you are better, knowing that you can be better, knowing that you're growing as time goes on, there's this self-confidence in yourself to do better. Because when you don't have that confidence that you can get through stuff or change your habits or change your ways, you're like, well, I want to, but I just can't. It's just who I am. It's not, though. All your habits are created. I think it takes 90 days to create a habit. I used to keep a chart. It was a healthy eating chart to make sure I didn't eat like a lot of fattening food, which I've done amazing at because I did this thing. But if you can keep something up for 90 days, you're set. I also I used to make sure I prayed every single day, and I do. I may not I used to do like a formal prayer each day. Now every day I talk to God in some way. I used to journal each time. I don't as much now, but it's still the same. Now it's more, not casual, but more natural. And I made that habit, and I did that for, I think, 2 months probably. I didn't quite hit 90 days at all, but I definitely I did it enough to the point where it is now instilled in me. And there's now this confidence that I am growing in my path of religion and loving myself. And before there wasn't, because I felt like I wasn't good enough, because I kept, forgetting to pray, forgetting to do this, accidentally doing this, not going to church one day. I felt like I only had so many chances to do better for myself. Like this was someone else tallying me and not myself. At the end of it all, I kind of had to stop thinking like that and stop thinking that, I have three tallies on my board now of I said I wouldn't cuss and I accidentally said the word damn like yesterday or something. Like things like that. Not like big things, but like things, and they could be larger things for yourself, but things like that. I think once that self-confidence kicked in, I stopped doing that. And I even stopped doing the things I didn't want to do without even thinking about it too hard. I stopped doing those things. To kind of just sum down the whole confidence thing, it's kind of hard to explain sometimes. There's the confidence in yourself that you're going to be better, and the confidence in yourself that you're enough where you are. Not that you won't get better and that you don't have to, but right now where you are, you're good enough and you are going to get better. Not the doubts in your mind like, well, I'm not enough now and I don't think I have what it takes to grow and be better and to change my mindset and where I am in my mind and get to a place of peace. Like, I don't think I can forgive this person for what they've done. It's just too much for me, which everybody thinks. But forgiveness, in a sense, just to tie to that, is not going back to go and hang out with this person and hold hands with this person. It's letting things go and not holding hatred in your heart, which is a big step. And once you are confident in yourself enough to let things go, a year will pass, you'll turn around and you'll be like, I know that hurt me that day, but it doesn't anymore. And I don't hate the person. I don't want to be best friends with them or kumbaya with them, but I know in my heart that I am growing as a person. Like, I'm not harboring anger anymore. I'm not harboring this anymore. Or, for example, in the sense of self-confidence, I know I'm growing as a person. I'm no longer lying about things I don't need to lie about anymore, because some people lie for no reason. That's something you work on to get better at. I'm no longer telling lies about small things. It's no longer a habit because I've worked on it and I know I can get better. So to sum down a long tangent or rant, this was basically just foundations and things you need to better your mental when it comes to a glow up, because the confidence in your mind that you have will show in your actions. If I don't think I can go to the gym consistently and lose weight or stick to my eating habits or find some peace in where I am now, I'm not gonna be able to move forward at all. And is a very big part in it. Your mental health or your mindset fuels everything. You can have all the tools, all the money, all the success, all the fame, all the whatever, but if your mindset isn't where it needs to be, it's kind of pointless. It kind of doesn't really mean anything. It's not going to get you anywhere, because all the tools without the knowledge on how to use them or without the fuel to use them the right way is completely pointless. But that was pretty much it on the whole mindset thing. It's not a super long talk. I can stretch it out as long as I want to. It's kind of personal to every person. I can give little frames and little examples, but it is personal to you as a person, what you need to change about your mindset, whether that is having some sort of God or religion, which I do recommend. I don't tell people what to do though, for your balance and for your peace and to get your mind where it needs to be to focus on goals and getting better and improving yourself. You can't if you cannot find a peace or something to come back to when you feel like you're going astray. And then there's the self-confidence, and then there is the forgiveness of yourself. But that kind of concludes what I had to say today. I hope that made sense to anyone, and I hope it's something that you can personalize yourself so that it means something to you in your journey of self-growth or growth in whatever aspect you are trying to grow in. Thank you for watching.